Hey, coffee experts. Those of you running independent coffee shops, you're always looking for ways that you can drop your costs. And we here at the Coffee Experts Club really understand that. And so we've started something called Indie Coffee Coalition. And what it's designed to do is to drop your costs on two of the things that you're probably experiencing the highest sales volume in your store. And that is energy drink and frat mix. Those two line items, we've created our own products and are offering you those products at a reduced cost so that you can cut out the Red Bull of America. You can cut out the main lines of energy drinks that you're doing and serve your own energy drink at a reduced cost on a line item that you're probably already making a lot of sales on anyway. The best way that you can grow sales is by dropping your costs and maintaining a current volume. So check us out at indiecoffee.co and we'll love to tell you more there.
Welcome to the Coffee Experts Club, where we discuss all of the insights, expertise, and drama that goes into making your passion your profession. Our hosts, Aaron, Ben, and Drew, are three coffee experts who have taken their coffee experience and turned it into true expertise. They have consulted with major coffee brands throughout the United States and beyond, providing operations expertise and growth strategy for drive-through openings, multiple locations, and everything in between. So brew yourself a cup and hang out a bit with the Coffee Experts Club.
Hey, Coffee Experts Club. Yes.
What
Man, got some guests on the show today. Woo! Love that. Good to see you, boys. How are things?
Good.
So, hey, we thought today we could talk about a topic. We kicked around a couple ideas before we started the show. And I think what we really want to emphasize is if you're listening today and you're thinking about starting a coffee shop, or maybe you're just getting started with a coffee shop, this is the place to come to. We want to make sure that you have all the intel before you get too far downstream and start having all kinds of problems. So what you're going to hear us talk about a lot on this show is things that are not only applicable at the beginning, but things that should set you on a trajectory for the rest of your time running coffee. And the topic we're going to talk about today, I feel like is one of those ones that only increases with scale. And it's about how do you run your coffee shop without always running like your hair's on fire? Like how do you run your business without always feeling helter skelter, without always feeling like you're putting out fire to fire to fire to fire to fire? It's like you're always on high anxiety alert, always feeling like something's broken, always feeling like you're having a pain point with your people, always feeling like you have something you have to solve. We've got to get you out of that day-to-day hair on fire so you can elevate up, so you can grow your business from your first one to your second one and on into growing your coffee empire. So I thought we could talk about that today.
Yeah, let's be honest, like giving yourself a chance to sleep in on a Sunday morning for once. That's the right thing to do. And I think a lot of first time coffee shop owners, one location, two location, three location, it's like 24/7, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, something's wrong, and they're always on. And I mean, I that's partially to blame why there's so much burnout in the industry. You see those shops pop up and 6 months later are gone. They didn't realize that unless you've got a good system in place, you're going to be working 24/7.
I love it. And just so you know,
But I mean,
because your dad and you can literally have the Jedi mind trick power of being able to shut down all things kids. Linnea's calculator in the background is a pretty awesome sound effect to our show today. So if you're wondering what the sound effects are that we're adding to the show today, just know this is that, man, bring your kid to work today is going to have all kinds of beautiful effects on the pod. So Ben, I'll say thank you.
we'll just trim out every time I'm talking.
I think it's good, dude. It gives texture. This is running. Ben's got his own business. This is running your own business. Sometimes you got your little one and you want to take a nap and you still got to do the work. Still got to do the deal. Drew, what were you going to say?
Well, I mean, seeing how, we've been in the industry for a while, it seems almost like a badge of honor to be the one that runs everything, runs everything all the time. And it can be scary to relinquish some of that, or to trust the system as well as you trust yourself to do it, or build a system, from your brain that is going to be you, and then have people run that system. The saying goes, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. But you've seen the pictures of the presidents before they were president and then the president in 4 years. Like that's kind of what happens to these coffee shop owners, because they don't turn off ever. They don't take weekends off. They don't sleep in. They go, 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 go. And they age fast. Speaking from experience.
Man, I think that's so good. But, I honestly, even me with the Collab team, this is our 11th year in business, doing coffee for a lot of years, and you doing coffee for a lot of years, Ben doing coffee for a lot of years. But even just this past week, I was on a mentoring call and there was a challenge question that was put out, and I had to take a minute and think about it and think, do I associate my value with staying busy? And I thought that's an interesting thing to work through. I mean, what you just said, Drew, about handing off things, sometimes it feels good that everybody comes back to you. Sometimes it feels like you feel important, that you know everything, that you're the boss, quote unquote. You know what I mean? But man, which is great. Like, don't feel like you have to walk away from those things, but let's, we talk about a lot on the show, the book Traction. Gino Wickman, who's the author of that, he has a tool that he's created called Delegate and Elevate. Our goal for you is you can still be the boss. Let's just elevate you up to the things a boss should be doing and not all the things that you could be doing, And because I think there are a lot of people that just get sucked into, I'll just do it real quick. And they trade out their sweat equity. And just like you said, Drew, they're eating years off their life. And really what's happening is what they don't realize is they're actually stunting the growth of their business, because what happens is they're actually not considering what's the best return on my time? What's the best return on investment? We think about ROI all the time when it comes to, should I make this investment in that? Should I get involved in this real estate deal? What's the return on investment in this or that? But a lot of times we don't really challenge what's the best return on investment of my time. And we have a very limited amount. All of us have the same 24 hours. And so if you're investing time somewhere you shouldn't, that's going to limit the amount of returns you get out of your business. And that's what we'd really like to talk about today.
And to be honest, you just can't. If you want to have your two shops, one shop, two shops, and then sure, keep running around with your hair on fire, then you can't go much farther than that before you want to start pulling your hair out.
Absolutely true. So Drew, we've been doing something down in Belize that honestly, when we first started, I'm like, is this going to work? Because we do a lot of it here in the States, and that is a weekly level 10 meeting from the book Traction, from EOS, Gino Wickman's system, where hundreds of thousands of businesses all across the world are using this. But it's different when it's your business, right? It's different when you're an American. You've got a business in a different country. Yes, they speak English, but Creole is a different kind of English. I mean, it's not just a straight across thing, and there's different cultures. And we're like, is this going to work? But we actually have taken this meeting style called the level 10, and actually we do it at that top level, right? EOS will always advocate, find your leadership team, determine who your leadership team is, and do a level 10 meeting with them. But then it should trickle down to next layer. And so next layer is managers. And I feel like, Drew, you've been doing that consistently now for months, doing manager L10s, and even have rolled out even EOS's system for their quarterly evals with 555s. And I think that it's been encouraging for me, at least, to see, oh, this is going to work, even if we're doing international business, even in places where maybe their English isn't our English, or their language isn't our language. This transcends. I know, Ben, you did some of that in Spain this past year as well, but I just think it was encouraging to me to see the power of a weekly meeting. Drew, do you want to talk about that just a little bit, with how we've tried to kind of elevate you out of the day-to-day drive, out of serving coffee, out of just being behind the bar, out of just driving, scheduling and doing the day-to-day tasks, into elevating you up to, no, Drew is the boss and he's delegated down those duties.
Yeah, I think that one of the key factors to getting yourself out of the fray of the day-to-day is empowering your people. And one of the best ways to do that is to talk to them consistently, hear them out and listen. And, everybody likes to complain. But usually when people are complaining, they're kind of working through something in their head. And so this time that we allot to meet with our managers, we started with Aaron at an airport. We started with, one manager doing L10s, and then we have two managers, now we have three managers. And so the system has escalated up into working in a bigger level. And we've taught the managers from these one-on-ones, these L10s, this format, to kind of be able to work together in format. Like, I missed a call the other day and they were able to run it themselves. And so, it trickles down. They see me as the leader working to get myself out of certain systems, out of managing certain things, and I empower them to manage those things for me, and on and up and up. And so it's not just teaching them to do the things that I can do, but teaching them the things that they don't need to do that they can delegate. And without the delegate aspect of their jobs, it would be impossible, I think, to run this thing remotely, because the managers, they can't do everything. Just like I can't do everything, they can't do everything, and they need to be able to delegate. So I say all that to say the weekly meetings have been super impactful, and we roll out reviews every 6 months. We do reviews, and they actually do 555s with their teammates, which gives their teammates a chance to, do the complaining, do the complimenting, and giving their concerns. And really, I think that, Gina Wakeman would be proud. And I think that the biggest piece, like I said, is empowerment. And what this does is it gives everybody a floor, it gives somebody speaking time, and we let them be heard. And really those concerns help us shape the business. We don't necessarily know what we're doing all the time. And the best way for us to find out what's wrong and how to create systems is to listen to our people.
That's good. That's good. I think too, what it allows you to do, Ben, did you have something? I mean, do we have a break? Should we be taking the break? Go and jump for it.
Yeah, right. No, I was just gonna say I completely agree. The one of the worst things as an employee is to not have an avenue to be able to voice your concern when you see something that can be improved. And just as equally bad is that there is a pathway, but then it just gets ignored all the time.
Right.
And like,
Right.
I remember back in the roaster days, employees, we would have location where the employees were like, we just stopped complaining about the ice machine because it just never gets fixed and it gets ignored. But these level 10 meetings are ways for them to be able to voice their concern. It gets recorded and then we go, okay, whose job is it to take care of? And there's accountability there that without some sort of system like that, and it's just you trying to, your instant messages and text messages, it's just handle everything, stuff is lost. And your employees start to get angry about it.
Hey, experts, we've got something really awesome that we do here at Coffee Experts Club, and that's called the My First Drive-Through Coffee Masterclass. So if you're opening your next coffee shop, I think a lot of times you may think to yourself, I know what goes into opening a coffee shop. I've been doing this for years, but maybe you've been doing it for somebody else. And maybe this is your first option of starting a coffee shop on your own. Or maybe you don't know anything about coffee and you're just like, I'm looking for a good investment opportunity. Starting a coffee shop seems like a good place to put it, and you're going to enter into it. But what you don't know is all the things that you don't know, right? And so what we've done with this masterclass is taken behind the scenes how you find your first location, what you need to be thinking about in finding a location. We give you a gift in the masterclass where it's a step-by-step process of how you're opening your coffee shop, the different checkpoints you need from coming up with your plans and talking with the city and then negotiating a lease. And then how do you build a team and what are the different pieces you need to be thinking about? It's a great masterclass, door to door, start to finish, completely free on opening up your next coffee drive-through. So check it out. It's at myfirstdrivethrough.coffee. And it's a great masterclass. You won't regret it. We'll see you on the inside there. Yeah. So I'd say first off, let's acknowledge this is all of us are just ourselves, right? We're just one person. And depending on how organized you are is going to probably be on how much stuff you can get done, right? And I would say most visionaries are not very organized, right? So they're just going to do the things that wherever the fire is burning the biggest, right? Wherever it's like the biggest problem or the thing that they're most interested in, right? Because visionaries also have a terrible tendency to shiny object syndrome, right? So whatever has attracted their attention right now, they're going to go and like drown 3 hours down that wormhole, and it's like, well, wait a minute, how much in the needle did that thing move? Or were you just excited about that? So I think one of the great things about getting into a weekly meeting is you're not just stuck with your own list. I think a lot of people running their own thing, they create some sort of list, whether it's in your phone or it's on a piece of paper. I mean, very few that I know are actually taking it into some sort of project management tool because that's more like the operations kind of side of things that we handle for folks. But however you're taking down your list, the danger is all of us with our lists are going to give attention to the things we want to give attention to and kind of turn a blind eye to the things that we don't want to give attention to. So one of the greatest superpowers I think of a weekly meeting with your people is no, all that shit gets put on this list, right? All that stuff comes here. We drop all those things into an issues list. We all process them through. And then those to-dos go out to people besides just you. It's not just you that should be lifting that. It's not just you that should be working a to-do list. And there may be some things that are 10 items down on your list that actually is a really big deal that you're probably never going to get to, that we need to be elevated up and needs to be handed off somebody else so we can get that completed. Otherwise, this is going to continue to be a problem and we're never going to move that ball forward. I know she listens to this show, so I want to be careful not to quote who she is, but talking to a business owner this last week, we've been trying to get her hooked up on DoorDash and it's a pain in the ass. And we were having all kinds of problems trying to do it for her. We were going to need her, but she just was so deep in the day-to-day business and doing the deal that she wasn't given enough time to doing this. And she had all kinds of other big ideas of how we could grow revenue. And I had to tell her, I said, hey, listen, what we know for sure is we're knocking down $1,000 a week at the other location, DoorDash. So whatever other energies you think we're going to put in, is it going to guarantee knock down $1,000 a week? Because if not, I just need you to get on the phone with DoorDash and set it up at the second location, because otherwise, like there's no other way we're going to grow this second location as fast as just doing that. And that was all it took a recalibration and a reconsideration. And she got on the phone, and it did take her like a half hour, 45 minutes. And there was a problem with the account, and she had to go a totally different way, but she solved it. And now we're going to start on DoorDash this next week, which means guaranteed another grand into the bank account by just doing that. But she never would have attacked that problem because it's going to be too far down the list. But if we could just get into a weekly meeting where she and I can have a conversation like that, and we can shine a flashlight on it, and we can identify, is this something she has to do, or could we task that down? And then when we task that down, does that person get stuck? Great. Then it might end up back on your list again. That's okay. But even just taking a pass at, like, let just fancy me the thought of, what if we took 5 or 10 things off your list and they were able to complete 7 of those 10? Wouldn't that still feel better? So maybe you get 3 of those things back, but we just gave you 75, we just gave you 70% of your time, your energy, your checklist capabilities back by giving them 10 things that they completed 7 of. So I think realize the more that you can empower your people and realize that this business can't live all on your back and that you have to give that to people, and that responsibility is going to lift when you give them opportunity to lift with responsibility.
Yeah, and you have to get rid of the lie that's in your head that only you can do it, and if they do it, they'll mess it up and everything will break and the shop will burn down and you'll be out of the business and you'll be homeless tomorrow. Like, you just have to get rid of that altogether. Cause that's what every coffee shop owner we talk to, we're like, so yeah, breakers if you did it. Yeah, but they're not going to do this well. Or yeah, but they'll probably mess it up. Sure, that's a possibility, but are you just going to keep doing it forever then? Like, what? Either they mess it up once and they learn how to do it correctly next time, or you just do it forever. Like, one of those sounds worse than the other to me.
I feel like that's Drew's whole story, right? Drew, like, for all the things that, like, I know sometimes we take playful jabs or not so playful jabs at Roasters and the early days and Wes and all the things that we grew and learned from. But I do think one of the things Wes did, whether it was by character default or what, but I do think Wes was like, figure it out. Like, he wasn't going to get he just straight handed stuff off. And Drew, I feel like that's how you ascended through a Roaster's ranks, right? Was somebody gave you an opportunity to prove yourself. And so you worked your way up from a barista to an assistant, to a manager of a large location, to a regional manager over many locations. But that was only because somebody gave you an opportunity with some responsibility, and you were able to show up and say, hey, that empowers me. I'd like more of that, please. You want to talk about that just for a sec?
Yeah, I was never an assistant, Aaron. Come on now. I love, and I think everybody loves, checking things off my list. It just feels nice. It's like, okay, awesome. I can go do something else. And something that has done for me and with these leaders is, I can give them lists, like you said, and it's not all on me, and they can check things off. And one of the magic elements of this process is that you're not just doling out tasks that will be done one time and have really no future effect, which might seem like that at first. But if you have these same people you're working with for a while, which, like you said, is kind of what happened with me, you're expanding their, awareness in the store. You're expanding their presence and their mindfulness. And sometimes now, which is amazing, things will get solved before it even reaches me, which is what we want, or like the precursor to that is, okay, bring me solutions to this problem you're going to bring me. First is they're bringing me problems and I have to solve it. Then they're bringing me some problems and some solutions. And now they're bringing me a resolved thing that happened that they wanted me to know about. And that has been just amazing for me. And, thank you Lord for all of that. And I mean, within Roasters, yeah, it was a really good time for me to have healthy challenges, and I think that we know our people well enough to know what is probably too big of a challenge, or a healthy challenge that is too big, but can be done by them with some assistance and not just pushing them out of the nest and hoping that they can fly, which kind of did happen to us sometimes at Roasters. I didn't always succeed in the things that were given to me. Sometimes I would fail. But on the other side of that was, okay, yeah, you failed, which also Wes was good at this, but try again. Yeah, you messed up, but here's maybe some solutions that would have worked. And the next time that you face this thing, then maybe you'll be able to solve it. And I mean, that's kind of how I learned to do all the things that I can do. And even today, I'm still learning. We got a soda gun I didn't know how to hook up, and I had to hook it up this morning. So years. I mean, it's been years. It's been, a decade of this type of process that I have been in, and it's been helping me so much. So if you can hand this down to your people, this process, maybe one day you'll create entrepreneurs, but best case scenario is that you independent, free thinking problem solvers who are excited to do the job and can go do it on their own.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head for business owners, because I know all of them are sick and tired of getting that 4:45 a.m. text on a Saturday. The machine's not turning on. The only way you stop getting that text is if you teach your people and then empower them to make decisions on their own. That text then becomes a 9 a.m. text that said, hey, just FYI, we were 5 minutes late to open because I couldn't get the machine flipped on, but I got it fixed. We're all good. We only missed one customer. Those are two wildly different scenarios. One of those, you actually get to sleep in on the weekend.
Yes. And I think this too, like Drew, I really loved how you laid that out, because I think so it starts with them bringing you a problem, then it starts with them bringing you a problem and a solution, right? Which we always advocate for that, right? 1-3-1. Like, what's the one problem? What are the 3 solutions? What's the one you think we should do? And then how much easier is it to lead people like that? You're like, hey, that was really good thought process. There's probably a variable in that you didn't realize it was this. Go with this. But then you didn't have to put in the thinking. They brought to you what they think you should do. And then eventually, if they're solving it on their own, I thought that was a great way to lay that out. I would say another great thing that you should try, if you're just thinking about it, maybe you're like, Aaron, this feels scary. Aaron, I'm not sure if I can do this. A weekly meeting, that feels like such a waste. And I don't know about this. I would say this: what if you started dropping needs into whatever your group chat is for all your baristas? Hey, guys, I have this problem. I've been working on this. I just feel like I'm having a hard time with time to get it done. Would this be interesting to any of you? Would any of you like to learn how to do this? What if you just started there, right? Because sometimes I think to any of our points, and what you just said was, you usually know the muscle memory and who can do what. And if it's too big of a lift, or that they're not able to fly and succeed at that, that's true. But sometimes there are things that your people haven't talked to you about yet that actually could be their superpower, but they haven't had an opportunity to prove that yet. And if you just lob it out, if you just lob that grenade out of the room, you might be surprised who jumps on that thing. You know what I'm saying? Who's like, no, I can handle that. No, I'm actually really good at that. And then the crazy thing is, there might be somebody in the room that's better than you at that. You may suck at scheduling. You know what I mean? And somebody could step up and say, and there's a kid that actually, this is a great story. A kid that's dating my oldest daughter. Love him a lot. Really smart kid. Ran management track for In-N-Out, scheduling 150 people every week, right? Like, that's what he did, in and out every single week. And crazy, ridiculous. I mean, imagine our problems, right? Normally we're scheduling what, 8 or 10 or 15 people, like between a couple of shops, right? Like 150 people week in and week out. But now the kid has exited and he's doing HVAC, right? So I promise you, what he's doing right now in the day-to-day, nobody would ever know that he used to schedule 150 people. You know what I mean? But like, and if his boss came up with a problem with scheduling and he threw it out into the room of like a group text of all the people that work for this HVAC company and said, hey, I'm really having a hard time with scheduling. Does anybody feel like they might want to learn this? If he would just plug Jacob into it, dude would not be disappointed, because our boy has been in way worse situations than that on a weekly basis, full of a lot of stress. So there's just some things you can't know unless you try. So get brave. Figure out what it is. What's the top burn that's really keeping you up, that's taking the worst amount of your time. If I just handle this one thing, I could literally probably get 5 to 10 hours back in my week. Start with that one. Throw that one out into the group. See if anybody would like to learn. So they're slower than you. So it takes them a little bit longer than you. Wouldn't it be great to get that off of your plate, even if it takes 2-3 weeks, a month from now? If you got that off your plate and you had 5 to 10 hours realized real estate in your life, wouldn't that work out so much better? So be brave, put it out there, let people raise their hand, give them a chance. If they fail, then what's the worst case scenario? You're just gonna be back to where you are right now, which is you doing all of it. So, and maybe it won't. So that would be my encouragement. Ascend by delegating, elevate by delegating. And man, give weekly meetings a shot. If you want anything to, if you want to know how we do weekly level 10 meetings, we do webinars on it all the time. We have one coming up this next week. Just drop a message to any of our chats and to any of our social medias. We'd love to invite you to that. It's a great thing. So Ben, we made it, man. Give your little girl a big hug. Drew, we made it, man. The wind didn't chop you up too bad. And guys, I just appreciate your time. Coffee experts, thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week.
Thanks so much for joining us today. For those of you who are looking to become a coffee expert yourself, we offer an incredible, thorough training online for opening your first coffee drive-thru at www.myfirstdrivethru.coffee.